This is Mike Anuzzi at musicaccelerator.com. We are on the line with a great friend of mine. She is someone who has supported and encouraged me in my career on her shows on the radio. She is a radio DJ and just got promoted to program director for the Krush 92.5, KZOZ 93.3, and Q104.5. I'd like to say that we bonded over our love for hair metal and the band Kiss. I always have a great time chatting with her. Please welcome Suzanne Schonig. Suzanne, how's it going
Mike.
Today?
Oh, so good. Thanks for including me in this. This is a cool new idea that you're doing right now.
Oh, thanks so much. I'm excited that we're going to talk. Suzanne, what got you into music?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that this is like total role reversal today because usually I'm the one interviewing you. And so this is like a really cool thing. I'm usually not on the other end of this Q&A type of thing. But yeah, music, it's so funny that you asked that because we just had Mother's Day last weekend and I was hanging out with my mom. I took her to a concert, a local band, Damon Castillo here. And you know, just thinking about that, I got my love of music from my mom. Yeah, she always had music on, and she always had different music on since I can remember. I mean, the earliest memory I think I have is like an 8-track of the Cars original self-titled that I used to just jam to when I was a kid. So I definitely got into music from my mom and just kept that love through my entire life up to this day. So
that is so cool, and I definitely saw some pictures of that concert. I wish I was there as well. So happy Mother's Day to the mamas that got us all started in music. That is awesome. I want to ask you then, you know, just having that influence growing up, I'm sure you had a huge, I guess, dictionary full of music or encyclopedia of music in the house, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, what were some of the favorite artists that your mom shared with you?
Oh, man. Okay, so for sure the Cars. I got into like Michael Jackson and Madonna, and I think those ended up being a little more like my music, and then my mom listened to them. But I remember that. She was really into rock and roll, so, you know, like the Doors and the Beatles and all of that real cool classic Zeppelin and Sabbath. But then she had stuff like, I am a total fan of the Gap Band. And that is definitely from my mom having, you know, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Kool and the Gang, those kind of fun, not disco, but like, I don't even know what that genre was, like dance fun, late 70s, early 80s and stuff. So I really got like a well-rounded like meal of music from my mom all the time. And then on the flip side, you know, separate parents, all that stuff. So my dad was super into country, so I kind of got that. Never really caught on to the country on my own, but it's definitely in my history. Alabama, the Oak Ridge Boys, all that like 80s country and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that really shows in the role that you're playing today in radio. You're working on a lot of different radio stations with, you know, extreme difference in genres. And I want to ask you, how did you get started working in radio?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled upon it, to be honest. I was... I don't know, like mid-late 20s, hadn't really done a ton of school. Like I definitely did my own path in life. You know, after high school, I went to college a little, and then I kind of just like, I don't know, I went to concerts for like 5 years. I didn't really do much with my life. And, but, you know, now that I look back, I realize I was building for my future going to those shows. But, yeah, I took some time off. I just did my thing. I was working retail, and it was fine. But all of a sudden, I'm like, you know, 27, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I can't work retail forever. And so I went to Cuesta College here in San Luis Obispo and did some general education stuff. Wanted to do a fun extracurricular type class, so I saw this intro to broadcast. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I've always liked radio. That'll be fun. Did that, and like it's all kind of history from there. I had a really encouraging set of teachers in that department at Cuesta who really, you know, I was like, yeah, I don't know, you know, I'm going to do this. This is just kind of fun right now. And they're like, no, take the next class, do the production, take an air shift. And, you know, just once you get on that microphone, I'm sure you can attest to this, you can't stop. It's a bug.
Absolutely. And you're doing such a great job for it. I think I kind of want to go back a little bit and say something that I found very useful as a musician as well. I think you said that you were going to a lot of concerts, and it seems like, and it sounds like you kind of took those concerts as an education. You were witnessing
Sort
a lot
of.
of different bands, and you probably learned a lot just by going and seeing and hearing all kinds of new music.
Yeah, for sure. And even, I guess you take it back to like my early 20s, I kind of helped manage my boyfriend's band for a while. So I've always been into music. I'm just not a musician. So for me to find something to do with my life and find a career that I can work with music is amazing. At one point I thought, tour manager or show, event coordinator thing for a venue or something like that. But I really like the radio aspect because it gives me a chance to bring music that I like to the masses, and for example, having you into my show on the Krush 92.5 here in SLO and being able to give you a platform to talk and play and just expose you. And I think that I really did find like my niche in the whole like music industry idea. Radio was perfect for me.
That is awesome. I want to thank you on behalf of many musicians that you've given this opportunity to. It's been truly an incredible opportunity for me to share my music, and I'm very grateful for all the work you do in that. Something that I want to touch on is kind of going along the lines with you working with a bunch of different artists and finding new music, placing it in front of new listeners. What is something, I guess, in your current role that you look for in an artist when you add their music to your show?
Right. Gosh, that's so interesting. So far, my choices on music have been what's going to be on my Krush Lounge. And for that, I just look for something that I vibe with, something that I think will sound good in the studio as like a broken down acoustic, because you've been in our studios. It's not like a super magical place for recording music, but it works. And so, I try to think about what's going to sound good in there live. And then just, honestly, it's just something, if I connect with the music, I would love to learn more, and I love getting to know the people behind it, the stories behind it. So this Krush Lounge thing has been perfect for me. And now stepping into this new role as program director, I'm still learning this as we're in this like whole transitional process here right now. But, now I have a chance to actually, look at the charts, like what other stations have added this artist and is it going to work for us? And listening and deciding, is that going to fit into our playlist? So I guess, I've taken a lot of advice from my mentor, Pepper Daniels, who's traditionally been our PD here, but he's, basically our company just bought a bunch of other properties and they've, made room for me to step up. But yeah, learning from him, he takes part charts, part heart, if that makes sense. And I totally have that. That's totally a theory that I'm going to continue with my program directorship here. So.
That's really great. I love hearing that. Pepper's been such a big support to a lot of artists as well. So,
yeah, I've been just expanding on Pepper because he's been so awesome as a mentor for me here. I've been in radio now for 10 years and worked for him pretty much the whole time. And he really has taught me a lot.
I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions. Kind of what is the best piece of advice that you can offer someone or that somebody has offered you if you want to sustain a career in the music industry? Talking about working with Pepper Daniels and stuff, and that kind of brings up, you've probably had a lot of influences. So if you have any advice, please do let us know.
Yeah, so going back to Wendy Wagner, who was one of my teachers at Cuesta when I was doing that broadcasting there. And it's the most simple thing, and it applies to life in general, but specifically to like radio and I think the music industry in general. The most simple advice, she said, be reliable. Be there, be the go-to guy, and that's going to get you everywhere you need to be. And especially in this industry, because, no offense, but artists are kind of flaky. It's just how we are. The creative people. We're up in space with our heads and we're doing all these really cool creative things, but sometimes that lends to letting go on the more responsible side of ththings, I guess, if you will. And I think it applies to kind of the industry in general, but radio guys, how we roll. And not to say that everyone is. It's something that she said to me. It really stuck with me, and I'm like that anyway. I have a really good sense of responsibility, and if I say I'm going to do something, I do it, and if I say I'm going to be there at this time, I'll be there at this time, and that has served me really well in my career specifically. And of course, it's just a life thing, like do what you say you're going to do. That really stuck with me. And then another thing, and it's just kind of a day-to-day thing because, this industry, radio specifically, we are a 24/7 business. And I think that really goes into music and you playing a gig. We're all working all the time. And sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, these responsibilities and all these things. And you can't do everything all at once. So Pepper always just tells me, what's on fire? Take care of what's on fire. The rest can wait. And that serves me every day in my duties here. So.
Yeah, that is amazing advice, Suzanne. Thank you so much. And again, I do want to thank you for taking your time working with me today. I know that we kind of rolled through a couple punches with technical difficulties, and you took more time than most people have with me just rolling through that. I really appreciate you following through and making this a priority on your calendar today as well. So thank you so much for doing that.
Of course. Well, again, I told you I would do it, so here I am. I'll make it work.
Absolutely.
And if anyone can understand technical difficulties, it is a radio person. We have them all the time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I do have one more question for you. You have a lot of cool shows going on around the Central Coast of California. You bring a lot of new music to that area. You bring it in the radio station. You work with a ton of people from here and beyond. Do you have any shows that you are doing or concerts that you might be going to in the coming months that you're really excited for?
Oh my gosh, all of them. I mean, I know you're with me on social media and you see me. I am a self-proclaimed concert junkie. I cannot stop. And sometimes I forego sleep so that I can go to these things. What am I looking forward to? There's so many shows here, even in my local area. We have the Applebee's Blues Festival is an annual thing that we do coming up at the end of May. Buddy Guy is coming into town. Trombone Shorty is with him. It's going to be a really cool thing. Vina Robles Amphitheater has a huge lineup this year, and they've gone like super 80s. So they've got like the Go-Go's, and on a separate night, Cyndi Lauper is there. So things like that. Our California Mid-State Fair, we have Duran Duran coming, and Alice Cooper's new supergroup with Johnny Depp and Joe Perry, the Hollywood Vampires. So, yeah, I mean, I've got a full concert calendar without even leaving my county. And then, gosh, I would love to see the GNR reunion. I just don't know if that's going to fit into my budget, both time and financial this year. That desert road trip thing, oh my gosh, it's like 3 nights down in Indio, which is kind of funny. People are calling it Old Cella, but dude, it's like, what is it? It's the Stones and Neil Young and Bob Dylan and The Who and Roger Waters and Paul McCartney. Oh my gosh, if I could do that, that would be epic.
Oh, that is so awesome. Again, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to share all of your passion in music. You could really hear it in your voice, just the huge, vast amount of musical knowledge that you have. It's really incredible. The Central Coast is lucky to have you on air now as the program director for 3 radio stations on the California Central Coast. Everybody, take your time to listen in. You could listen to any of these radio stations online. Suzanne, you've been such a great person to talk with today. Thank you so much for taking your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike. This has been really cool. And like I said when we started, it's kind of interesting and fun to be on the flip side of the interview.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, thank you so much. This is Mike Annuzzi at musicaccelerator.com, and we will catch up again soon.